त्याला इथं मार्क पडते any moment सुरू असतं.
Welcome one and all. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. I, Ms. Noor Aisha, Deputy Coordinator IQAC, welcomes you all for the fifth day of 5 days national level FDP on adaptation of new normal to a new future, with a new theme of blended learning and social sciences. So I request Sabiha Zubair ma'am, Vice Principal, Abbas Khan College and HOD of Urdu to welcome today's speaker and the participants.
Thank you, Mrs. Noor Aisha. Good afternoon and very warm welcome to one and all present offline and online. To improve the golden moment of opportunity and get the best out of it is the great art of life. I am extremely happy today that we have come to an end of faculty development program. And I am here to welcome the dignitaries and the participants of this valedictory program. Let me start with a quote that nothing great will be achieved without great men, and great men only if they determine to do so. This portrays our chief guest of today's program. It's my proud privilege to welcome Janab Farooq Mahmood Sahab, Vice President, Central Muslim Association of Karnataka. Janab Farooq Mahmood Sahab is in the real estate business for over 35 years. He is one of the founders of the Bangalore Real Estate Association of India and served 2 terms as its president. He is not only a successful businessman, but also a committed educationist. His services in the field of education is remarkable. Janab Farooq Mahmood Sahab, a great motivator, a visionary, a person who gave us the belief to bring together this program. On behalf of the principal, Abbas Khan Degree College and staff, and on my personal behalf, I welcome you, sir. The theme of today's program is blended learning and social sciences. It's a matter of immense pride for me to welcome guest speaker Dr. Vittal D. Potidar, Senior Research Associate of Metric Society, Bangalore. He has worked as a professor of history in Sheshadripuram First Grade College for 19 years and as an assistant faculty in Sheshadripuram Institute of Management Studies for 13 years. He has also served in Nagarjuna Degree College as a coordinator and a principal for 5 years. He has presented 31 research papers, life member of 6 academic bodies, participated in more than 50 seminars, FDPs, conferences, workshops as a resource person. His international academic exposure and interactions include visit to 9 universities in the USA and one in Singapore till date. In 2018, he was invited to present a research paper on the topic Environment and Jainism in the conference organized by Department of Philosophy and Religion, College of Arts and Science, University of North Texas, USA. Sir, on behalf of the principal, staff, and on my own behalf, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
And these beautiful lines are for our beloved principal, Professor Zubeda Begum. The fragrance of flowers is spread only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of a person is spread in all the directions. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a very gracious welcome to our beloved principal, Professor Zubeda Begum. She has proved herself as a true Abbasian, a good leader, an outstanding organizer, a great motivator. She does not wait for the things to happen, she makes them happen. On behalf of the staff, students, and on my own behalf, I welcome you, madam. I extend a cheerful welcome to Dr. M.S. Vidya, IPSC coordinator, HOD Kannada, and a very famous theatre personality of Canada. She is very happy and cheerful today because we are going to come to an end of this FDP program. I take this opportunity to extend a joyful welcome to the program coordinators, Dr. Sayyida Tabassum, Staff Secretary, HOD Commerce, and Mrs. Noor Aisha, HOD Computer Science. This FDP program was not possible without their sincere coordination, support, and cooperation. Last but not the least, I welcome all the participants, resource persons, faculty members, teaching and non-teaching staff who are directly or indirectly involved in cooperating for this program. Once and again, I welcome one and all. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, madam. It's my pleasure to welcome our Vice Principal, Sabiha Zubair ma'am, the loving lady of the college, to this FDP program. To deliberate on the today's theme, blended learning and social sciences, we have the eminent personality, the speaker of the today's program, Dr. Vittal Podar sir, who is the Research Senior Associate of Mythic Society, Bangalore. Sir, over to you. You can please start your session. If you need to share, you can please share your PPT.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Kindly allow me to share my PPT.
Yes, sir, you can share your PPT, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it's visible now.
Yeah. So,
it's visible, sir.
Yeah. Shall I continue?
Yes, sir, you can please start.
Yeah. Namaste. Good afternoon, everyone. Janab Farooq Muhammad Ji, Vice President of CMA Karnataka, Professor Zubeda Begum, Principal of Abbas Khan College for Women, Dr. Vidya, IKSA Coordinator, Dr. Saida, Professor Noor Ayesha, Professor Habiba, and learned participants. Indeed, I am very happy to share my thoughts once again. This is the second FDP I am conducting this month only relating to blended learning. Just 14th, I interacted with the participants, NEP and blended learning. But today, the topic is blended learning and social science. As far as my am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah.
You just raise your voice a bit, sir. You're a little bit low. You just
Yeah. Now am I audible?
You're audible, sir. Just a little bit loud voice. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
Your mic.
Now am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yeah. Then shall I? Better I will remove the microphone. Then I think I will be audible.
Yes.
better. Am I right? Huh? Okay. So indeed, I'm very happy to share some of my thoughts as far as Abbas Khan College is concerned. What exactly I'm going to do here is, as far as can you see it now?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So as far as my presentation is concerned, I'd like to say in the beginning, say something about the academic scenario, higher academic scenario. Then I'll be sharing with you. Many of you may be familiar with NEP 2020 and what, because without talking about NEP 2020, I will not be able to discuss anything related to blended learning. I will be focusing more on what this new policy, new education policy says something about blended learning. And after knowing something about NEP, then we'll have a discussion on age of blended learning, 21st century, or in the coming days. Everywhere people are talking about blended learning, and then I will be focusing my discussion on how blended learning concept can be incorporated as far as social science is concerned. Think many of you may be familiar with these kind of discussions also. Many academicians or policymakers, they are talking about age of multiple skills, age of disruption and disruptive technology. Many policymakers and academicians, they say to be successful, as far as to be successful in academic world, to become a successful person in the academic world, they say one should have a quality of adaptability, upskilling, diversity with a global mindset, and all these things. They say these are some of the requirements to be a successful person. They say adoption and integration of innovative strategies as far as teaching is concerned, innovative practices, best practices, and all other things also. Where is connected with NAC, they are familiar with these terminologies. Then they say we need a multi-dimensional approach in order to bring in reforms in higher education, because in the coming days it will not be a one-way direction, it will be multiple directions also. Then people are talking about tech-driven education society and other things also. And from brick mortar classrooms to digital learning, some part of the world, a resource person is sitting and he or she is addressing thousands or lakhs and lakhs of students also. Hence, they are talking about e-learning platforms like e-Pathshala, Swayam, edX as far as Harvard Business School is concerned. Then NAC also talks about ICT-enabled teaching, MOOCs, massive open online courses and other things also. So my interpretation as far as blended learning is concerned, so I feel a blended learning is a style of education in which students learn via either electronic or online media and the traditional face-to-face. Blended learning, we combine, to put it in other words, it is a combination of both online and offline teaching and learning. Already I am Rohtak has said about age of blended learning and other things. Already since last couple of years, people are talking worldwide, including India, about blended learning, because they say only one mode of giving instruction is not sufficient. We should have different options in order to help these students, in order to make their learning process much more faster and effective also. So with this background, now I'd like to say something about what exactly NEP says. I think many of you might have gone through the NEP draft also. So just I would like to draw your attention to these points, because NEP draft runs to hundreds of pages. Well, we need not discuss the entire draft. Since my focus is on blended learning, I would like to draw your attention about some important sections in NEP, because they are very important as far as my discussion relating to blended learning and social science is concerned. So 9.1, the point numbers which I have given, they are the points. If you see those numbers, you will get the information, the same information as far as the NEP draft is concerned also. It says 9.1 talks about the 21st century requirements also. It talks about quality and other things, what all the things one should do. 10.1 talks about transforming higher education institutions into large multidisciplinary universities. This is very, very important. I request all the participants to focus on this particular point also. What is the vision? What will be the trend in the coming days? Within no time, whatever I have shown it in bold letters, that aspect is very, very important also. In the coming days, we cannot think of existence of, because these points have got very much a connection with blended learning and other things. The draft says, the NEP says, transforming higher education institutions into large multidisciplinary universities or colleges or higher education institution clusters and knowledge hubs with at least 3,000 or 3,000 plus students. If that will be the strength of an institution, we cannot think of just imparting the information or knowledge with the help of the traditional offline system. We have to go for the blended learning. So that's why 10.1 is very much connected with blended learning. If you come to 10.2 also, it talks about higher education institutions. It talks about what sort of higher education should be there, or what should be the structure of the higher education. 10.7 is very, very clear. It says by 10, 20, 40, all institutions, we cannot think of standalone institutions. All institutions in India will be either a college or a university. It will be a multidisciplinary. And whenever you talk about interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary institutions, there is a much link with these institutions will have a very, very important link with blended learning. 10.1, it talks about open distance learning. All these years, what was the concept? Open distance learning was the responsibility of the open universities like KSOU or IGNO also. All other universities and educational institutions, they were supposed to give education or impart education only through offline mode. Online and offline were two separate entities. Online institutions never talked about the offline concept. Offline institutions, they were not given permission to talk about or render the education through open distance. But 10.10 says in the coming days, there will not be any distinction, because since policy talks about blended learning, whether it is online or offline, different modes will be used. My explanation when we talk of blended learning, different modes. Blended learning means providing education through different modes. That's why 10.10 says such a quality online courses. This word is very, very important. You cannot think of just rendering something either online or offline. It is very specific. It says quality online courses will be suitably integrated into curricula of higher education institutions in India, and a blended mode will be preferred. The policy itself says we should go for blended learning as far as higher education is concerned. 10.13 also talks about integration. Universities worldwide in the coming days means multidisciplinary institutions. Holistic and multidisciplinary education will be the need of the hour in the coming days. What should be the role of an education institution in 21st century? 11.3, if you see 11.3, it talks about the nature, what all the things, holistic education. All these things are very, very important when you talk of blended learning. Even it says, 11.4 says, engineering colleges also in the coming days, they are going to become multidisciplinary institutions where along with engineering subjects, liberal arts and liberal science courses also will be offered. Already the process has been started in some of the IITs like IIT Kanpur, Kharagpur. In the recent years, even IIT Gandhinagar also, they are no longer just engineering colleges. They have become multidisciplinary institutions. That's why 11.2 says it talks about STEM, that is science, mathematics, technology, engineering, mathematics. All these things will be taught under one roof in the name of multidisciplinary institutions. 11.13 also it further explains all other things. 11.11 is very, very important. That's why in the coming days, the proposal is we will see MERUs in our country. What do you mean by MERUs? Multidisciplinary education and research institutions. One side, the institutions will be offering multidisciplinary subjects for to the students, and another thing is they will also act as the research institutions. So the structure, nature of educational institutions in the coming days is going to be redefined. Once the structure and nature is redefined, then ultimately we have to go for blended moding. That is what the policy says. So that's why 13.3 also talks about this very, very important. It talks about infrastructure. It says every classroom shall have access to latest educational technology that enables better learning experience. What should be the aim ultimately? We should think of a better learning experiences. So how to provide better learning experiences? By using different modes also. 20.110 talks about online and blended mode also. It says ICT enabled learning and all these things. So ultimately we are using different tools. We are using different educational tools, and by using these different educational tools, we are going to offer the required knowledge or required information as far as students are concerned. How it is going to be done? That's why the policy talks about establishment of National Educational Technology Forum. And what will be the role of this particular forum? It will provide the required technology, and it will see to it that the technology will get integrated, and ultimately we are able to use extensively the required technology as far as the learning process is concerned. So 23 and 24.1 also, this especially point is very, very important when you talk of blended learning. It says new circumstances and realities require new initiatives. You cannot say, I will just follow the traditional method, because we are in 21st century. The requirements of the learners is entirely different. The situation is entirely different. The worldwide, we find a sort of a paradigm shift as far as the learning is concerned. If you don't respond to the requirements of the 21st century, we are going to lose our existence. That's why the policy warns, it says, new circumstances and realities. Understand the realities. Now we are in the period of a pandemic. We know the reality. It is very, very difficult to go for offline mode. So depending on the reality, you have to go for new initiatives. That's why it further says ICT enabled education institutions must be optimized. In the coming days, we should give more thrust on ICT enabled teaching, so that even if we face a sort of like a present pandemic situation, the learning process will not get affected also. So that's why 24.1 also is very important. That's why it says further, teachers require suitable training and development to be effective online educators. It doesn't say let us switch over to blended mode or offline and other mode, online and offline modes also. It says let us give required training, let us give required skills to the teachers. Once these skills are given to the teachers, they will become effective online educators. Already they are effective offline educators. Once the suitable training and development is given to the teachers, they are going to have different strategies and programs. So they will become effective educators both in online mode and offline mode, so that the blended learning process will become a reality also. That's why 24.4 says blended modes of learning. It ultimately says we have to go for blended learning. So these are some of the points which we should take into consideration whenever we discuss something about blended learning. So after knowing something about NEP, what NEP says about blended learning, now let us come to our discussion as far as age of blended learning is concerned. I think everyone will agree with me. We are in the age of blended learning and teaching, and now already world has gone one step ahead. Still we are trying to understand and implement blended learning, but already if you read the latest journals relating to higher education, they are also using another new mode that is known as hybrid learning. It is the next step of blended learning also. So what is the uniqueness of this hybrid learning? Blended learning is further supported by hybrid learning, which is the combination of traditional classroom, that is offline, experiential learning, and a digital mode of course study, which emphasizes more on using the best option for each learning objective. So now they say one side offline, on the other side online, and now the third aspect when you talk of hybrid learning, experiential learning also. What do you mean by experiential learning? When I am learning something, when I am understanding something also, I should experience it. Unless I experience, and experiential learning, they say, it is going to become a common norm in the coming days under hybrid learning. Students should experience it. All is this, what is happening? Just a teacher is collecting some information and he or she is imparting some information to the students, and they just absorb it, whether they like it or not. In the coming days, the system will be so advanced, they will listen to the teachers, they will also attend classes on online mode, and not only that, they will also will be put into this particular mode, that is the experiential learning. So in the coming days, it will be combination of not just online and offline. In the coming days, when you talk of higher education, even in school and other levels also, it will be both a blended learning and hybrid learning. That's how we are going to see a paradigm shift as far as higher education is concerned. That's why I would like to give this equation. I think you are familiar with this equation, or for generations used to use this method, chalk and talk method, traditional offline method. Then a couple of years ago, I think some 10 or 15 years ago, slide projectors also. So we used to have transparent sheets. On that we used to write some information and show it on also. Then ICT enabled teaching started, LCD projectors, smart classrooms and other things. So because of ICT enabled teaching, when we entered ICT enabled teaching phase, so then ultimately blended learning and hybrid learning have become the common norms when you talk of higher education or advanced universities or education institutions in the world also. So that's why we should remember. So my analysis, when you talk of blended learning also, I feel it is an integrated approach to learning. Blended learning is an integrated. What do you mean by integrated? You integrate different skills, you integrate different modes, you integrate different techniques. Why you are integrating these different techniques and modes also? In order to make your teaching much more effective, so that learning also will, both the teaching and learning will become effective. Many people have got a wrong notion. I keep on hearing this kind of comments by some of my academic friends also say, no, 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 blended learning is going to affect the especially employability and other things also. No, same thing has been expressed 20 years ago. Y2K problem, they said 2020, it is going to especially affect the employment opportunities. It did not happen. So blended learning also doesn't mean it is going to replace the existing teachers. The duties, and just now in the earlier slides I said, Teachers have to update themselves. Once they get themselves updated, they are able to become effective teachers also. So hence, it is an integrated approach and it is an integrated process where you are combining, you are integrating different modes so that your teaching methodology or your teaching technique will become much more effective. Hence, it is a synthesis process. One should remember, we synthesize different, especially skills and processes in order to become more effective, but not at all it is an antithesis. So that's why all these things are happening, why these new techniques, or why we are talking about these new developments under blended mooding also, because we are in the age of experiential learning worldwide. It is my personal experience also when I visit American universities. Today, teachers are no longer just teaching, they are all facilitators. When you go to, especially go to Western or American universities, teachers are there. Oh, my wish is in the coming days, in our schools and colleges, or especially in higher education institutions, we should play the role of facilitators. We need not just write down some notes and go and deliver these things to in a classroom to the students. Students will do a lot of homework. They do the reference work. We are just facilitators. We are guiding them. We are helping them. We are mentoring them. We are not just bombarding them with the information. Information is available through different modes. They go to those modes and they acquire, they collect it. But since they are less experienced, they don't know how to process it. So that a synthesis process, the synthesis process should be done by teachers as a facilitator, so that the experiential learning will become a reality, and the blended learning is going to play a very important role as far as the experiential learning is concerned. So hence, blended learning should provide a better understanding of the subject by a learner. Why these modes are used, why these techniques are used, because ultimately our focal point is a learner, our students. If what we should do, we should use different modes and techniques in order to make their understanding much more effective also. So in order to make their understanding much more effective, we are using the techniques like blended learning. Hence, it is an integration of knowledge from different sources in a cohesive manner. My assumption, my interpretation of blended learning is we are integrating knowledge from different sources. It is like a honey bee collecting especially nectar, and ultimately we get very tasty honey also. So we integrate knowledge from different sources and we arrange it in a cohesive manner, and we are delivering that cohesive the knowledge which is arranged in a cohesive manner to our students with the help of the blended learning. Hence, it is a blended learning process, not a mixed learning. We are not just mixing. We know blended coffee example also, how chicory and coffee is mixed in different proportions so that we'll have a very aromatic filter coffee also. So remember, it is a blended learning. It is not a mixed learning. For the success of blended learning, what we should do, it is very much related to our teachers. One should have multiple skills and a knowledge of the multiple skill subjects. In the coming days, like standalone institutions, we cannot think of teachers knowing only a little bit about a particular thing. A teacher is going to play multiple roles. Since he is going to play the role of a facilitator, it is very much required under blended learning process. One should have multiple skills. It may be computer skills, it may be other skills also, and you should also have multiple knowledge of the multiple subjects, because we are talking about multidisciplinary studies and interdisciplinary studies. Hence, this point is very much applicable to our teaching community. I should know something about everything. If I don't know something about everything, I cease to remain in this particular position also. I cannot continue as an effective teacher or a facilitator. Hence, our especially not only our students learning process should undergo a paradigm shift. Our especially Preparation process also should undergo a paradigm shift, because I should get exposure to different branches of knowledge. Then only I can become an effective facilitator. So that's why blended learning, I feel it is an innovative approach to learning and even teaching also. It is a new mode of learning. It promotes in acquiring a set of skills along with the existing learning. With the help of blended learning, we are adding few more, especially a new set of skills as far as our existing learning process is concerned. Hence, I feel blended learning concept should become a policy matter. It is not just a mode of teaching. In our, when you talk of a college or a university, the college and university only needs a policy matter, or under institutional development plan, it should say, yes, how we are imparting knowledge here in this particular XYZ institution. The institution should say, yes, in our institution, the process is blended learning only. So that's how it should become part and parcel of the institutional development plan when you talk of an institution. Offline and online learning teaching should be complementary to each other. They are not contradictory. We know some of the things should go for some of the as far as some subjects are concerned, we should think of offline. When you think of some subjects, it should be online, because say suppose if you want to invite an expert to teach a particular subject, he or she may not be in a position to come down to your institution and deliver a lecture, then you go for online mode also. So it should be a combination. What should be the ratio? Should it be 60-40? Should it be 50-50? That can be decided depending on the need of the subject, depending on the nature of the pedagogy as far as that particular course is concerned. It should be a harmonious blending of different branches of knowledge under multidisciplinary studies is the need of the hour. Multidisciplinary studies, then blended learning, and multidisciplinary institutions. That is going to become a common practice in the coming days also. So we cannot think of in the coming days only arts college or commerce college or science college. When you talk of an institution, once you enter the campus is offering you different subjects and different courses, both in online mode and offline mode also. So that is going to become a reality in the coming days also. So that's why one has to, why these things are happening. You may ask a question, why these changes are required also, because one has to undergo learning process from different modes and different dimensions. All these years, we used to have single dimension or dual dimension as far as the subject is concerned. Physics is studied like a physics only. History is studied like a history subject. Commerce is studied like a commerce subject also. But today, worldwide questions are asked, can you study commerce subject from different angles or from different dimensions? I'm a history teacher. I know how today history is studied from different dimensions. So just now, while introducing me, they said about my participation in a conference, which I participated 3 years ago in US. The subject was environment and Jainism. We cannot imagine. We can think of either a conference on environment, or you can think of a conference on Jainism. Is it possible to combine two different branches of knowledge? It is possible. So that's how the learning is happening worldwide also. So we, under a single platform, we bring different branches of knowledge together. We integrate and we start learning them from different modes and dimensions. Hence, learning a subject with a different dimensions. So I have given you a simple example. It will have a political dimension, it will have a social dimension, economic dimension, cultural. You can also add, since I'm talking about social sciences, I have used only these dimensions. Today they are also talking about environmental dimension, scientific dimension, all these things also. So when you talk of history, all these years history, we used to say political history, social, economic, cultural history. Today they say history also has got environmental dimension. It has also got scientific dimension. It has got a technological dimension also. That's how the learning is happening. Hence, I feel there is a need to introduce horizontal integration of learning process. So horizontal, all subjects, no question of verticals. This subject is great, this subject is a different, this is a different, this is different. All these years, we were in the age of compartmentalization. Those compartmentalizations process is gone, verticals have gone. So we are bringing or we are integrating different branches of knowledge under one platform. So that is what is required. And in order to achieve this, all these blended and hybrid learning process and different modes are used. So today, the learning process is an horizontal integration. It is no longer verticals. That also we should keep in mind. So hence, we should make our classroom learning more educative, experiential, interactive, all these things. I don't say they were absent. They are there in only select institutions. Always it was a one-way communication. Teachers used to enter the classrooms at a selected particular time, deliver something, whether students understood, liked or not also, just you finish it and you write, take the attendance and come back. So that old technique is now gone. So now today when you talk of a classroom, especially in model educational institutions or branded educational institutions also, the classroom learning process is highly educative. It is experiential, hence I used the word just now, experiential learning, interactive. Teachers are not just delivering something. Yes, they are giving lectures. There is a lot of interaction. When I go to US, usually the classes will be of 2 hours duration. The organizers, they say, I'm supposed to deliver a talk or a particular lecture also, say some 40 to 45 minutes. First part, so just like a PPT, we just deliver. Second part is very challenging for resource persons and teachers because students and participants just they will bombard you with a lot of questions, and you should be able to give, yes, for 1 or 2 questions you may not be knowing the answers, but to a great extent you should give them convincing answers. So since the classrooms are interactive, just let us ask questions to ourselves. How many of us we are making our classrooms more interactive? It is just a monologue. It is not at all a dialogue. But NEP also says, and modern world also expects you to make your classroom teaching or learning more interactive, interesting, informative. How we are going to do all these things also? By using new teaching techniques and modes. What are those new teaching techniques and modes also? Blended learning and other things also. Why it is required? We are going to have re-envisioning of Indian higher education in the coming days. Whatever vision we had, that vision will be redefined, is undergoing a paradigm shift also. Hence, all these things are required when you talk of blended learning also. 21st century higher education aims at providing multiple skills, because without multiple skills, you cannot think of your survival. Education with a universal application. It is not just a local application, or I would say rather universal and local application. Local application also will be there, but you should also have universal application. How we are going to do it? Integration of new learning and teaching concepts into Indian higher education. So we should open up, like globalization, we should open up. Once we open up, we'll start a welcoming the new concepts or new practices which are practiced worldwide, so that we are able to integrate the new learning processes and teaching processes also. How it is done? I'm just giving you an example also. Use of cutting edge technology in the learning process. They are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things and other things also. So that's why I would like to give a sort of an equation as far as blended learning is concerned. Once you adopt this particular strategy, that is multidisciplinary and blended learning with a horizontal approach, then only we are able to make a sort of an impact as far as 21st century is concerned. Otherwise, we are going to lose our existence because of the global competition. To remain in the global competition, we should have this particular strategy. I should go for multidiscipline. My institution should go for multidisciplinary studies. It is coupled with or it is combined with the blended learning, and we are following a horizontal approach. No question of important subject, unimportant. All is yes is to say this topic is important, this topic is unimportant, this study is topic you study for exam. No, no, no. Everything, when you are studying something, everything is important, everything should get integrated, and you just keep on teaching those subjects on an equal footing, that is horizontal approach also. Okay, fine. This is about a blended learning. Then how it can be done as far as the social science is concerned? Let us think about social science also. So first thing is, unless we go for interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary approaches, we cannot think of bringing in a paradigm shift as far as our social science studies is concerned in the coming days, or already the process has been started worldwide, even in India, also in some leading education institution. Interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary studies is going to become a common practice as far as higher learning is concerned. Hence, people are using the words like all these years we used to hear about liberal arts, and now they have also started using the word liberal science. What exactly they do under liberal arts? Why they are talking about liberal arts? Because they say once you adopt a concept known as liberal arts, as far as an education institution is concerned, it will help us in promoting critical, creative thinking, intellectual agility, analytic prowess, ability to formulate well-reasoned arguments. It is not just acquiring some information. Once I acquire the information is processed in such a manner so that I will be able to formulate well-reasoned arguments. Means there will be a lot of chintan and manthan. There will be a lot of churning process. Because of the churning only, ultimately we will get the butter. So in the coming days, education also will, education means a very systematic churning process, and because of this churning process, that is Chintan and Manthan, ultimately we are able to formulate well-reasoned arguments which are based on facts and figures, not just whatever comes to my mind, I will say. So whatever I say, they are all well-reasoned arguments, means they are based on facts, figures, research, reasoning, and other things also. That's why they say when you talk of liberal arts, it will equip an individual to participate effectively in the community and societal related activities, because man is a social animal. He lives in a society. I should work for the society. I should do something for the society. Without society, I cannot think of my existence. This is how the thinking process is going on. My education should be very much related to societal needs. Society expects something from me. I should give back something to the society when I acquire a particular knowledge or a skill also. That's why even when you talk of liberal science also, they are talking about blending or integration. Under liberal science, they talk about literature, history, linguistics, philosophy, mathematics, and general science. All these years, you see, literature, language means separate branch. History, philosophy means social sciences. Mathematics, general science means general science. So this is how we used to have a lot of compartments, is it not? Our entire education system was highly compartmentalized. Those compartments are gone now. So that's why they are talking about liberal arts and liberal science. That's why they say study of liberal sciences will help in developing analytical skills. See, you see, today they say mathematics, which is the best combination, mathematics and philosophy. This literature should be studied in order to understand general sciences. They say we should have a history paper in science department or in science subject or in science stream or engineering stream also, because they say ultimately these skills are very much required as far as a learner is concerned. Analytical skills, reasoning, communication skills, writing skills also. You cannot say I'm very good in mathematics. I should also have communication skills and writing skills. Otherwise, I will not be able to express myself. I will not be able to communicate properly. Hence, When you talk of learning process, all these skills are required. If these skills are not required, not there, if they are absent in a learner or in a student, his knowledge is just a half knowledge, and he will not be able to survive in this competition. Hence, they are talking about blended learning. This is how they are talking about blended learning as far as 21st century is concerned also. That's why ultimately, let us remember what is the need of the hour: amalgamation of the knowledge, very harmonious integration, amalgamation of the knowledge from social, biological, physical sciences for the better understanding of the societal issues and finding appropriate solutions at the right time. When you talk of social sciences study in the coming days, how social science studies are studied, how they, whether it is history, political science, economics, sociology, or whatever may be the subject also. So these subjects, since my focus should be on social sciences, it is the amalgamation, amalgamate the knowledge, bring in information from different sources, without any bias, without any hesitation, or without any barriers. And once you bring that knowledge from different sources also, you do the amalgamation, so that that knowledge, that churned knowledge will help us in the better understanding of the societal issues. Today, our entire world is facing a lot of social issues, political issues are there. So we read lot of things in our newspapers. How these issues will be addressed in the coming days? How we are going to find solutions? Can you get a solution to a crisis in a country only with the help of science? No. Can you find a solution to a societal problem with the help of only military power? No. Only with the economic strategy? No. Political strategy? No. Only with the help of science and technology? No. They say we'll have different approaches. How we are going to have different approaches also? Only with the help of a process called as the amalgamation process also. That's why I'm giving you an example, one or two examples. See, take the example of data science, advanced branch of knowledge as far as electronics and computer science is concerned. Data science, you know, how the data, extensive use of data science in engineering and other fields also. But all these years, we never imagined that in social sciences, data science is used. I'll give you an example. Today, take the example of geography. In geography and history, we study a lot of maps, especially the science of map is known as cartography. Today, they say if you want to, you have seen even in schools and colleges, the map work will be there in history paper. So question is given. So just you are supposed to mark some of the places in that blank map which is given. Map work is to be there. But today, with the help of data science, these maps are studied, and I had some interactions with some of the American professors also relating to this particular concept. I was just amazed how the research is done in leading universities like Harvard and other Princeton and other universities in America. How data science is extensively used when you talk of historical studies, archaeological studies, studies relating to geography, studies relating to cartography. So that's why today history is not studied under social science. It is a branch of multidisciplinary study: history and biology, history and physics, history and engineering, history and data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, name anything. All these, especially latest engineering techniques, are used and applied when you talk of historical studies. That's how the learning is happening. Today, I just wonder, should I once again undergo a training as far as an engineering course is concerned? Because some of the articles which are published in leading social science journals relating to history will not be able to understand even head and tail also of that particular article, because they are so scientifically written. Unless you have got a basic understanding of science, will not be. It is related to history, but it looks like an article relating to engineering or physics or chemistry also, because social science subjects are studied under multidisciplinary approach also. Hence, My suggestion would be, let us go for horizontal integration. Bring in different branches of knowledge. Learn them. You may not become expert. Once I start learning, I may not become a computer science engineer, but I should know something about computers and other things in order to understand my subject in a better way from different dimensions also. So that's why my suggestion would be, break the silos. We are too much compartmentalized. We always talk about disintegration rather than talking about integration or integrative process as far as learning is concerned. Group dynamics, no question of, I feel in the coming days, we should not have different staff rooms, science staff room, commerce, or all staff room means one, where different, especially teachers from different departments, they sit together and they keep on discussing different, especially aspects as far as a particular branch of knowledge is concerned. Group dynamics is the need of the hour as far as higher education is concerned. Ultimately, we should remember, we should become a universal citizen, Vishwamanavatva or a Vishwamanava. That is, I should become a universal citizen. I should know something about everything. I cannot say it is happening in America or it is happening in Afghanistan or it is happening in Japan. Whatever happens in any part of the world, I am also affected. I am also part of it. I am also a stakeholder. I am also a stakeholder. This is how the learning process should happen as far as the blended learning and social science is concerned. So with this, I end my presentation. My presentation is now open for discussion. So now participants can make their comments, or they can raise a certain issues as far as my presentation is concerned. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your great session and deliberating on us about the blended learning, which is the future of education. We are very happy to hear you. And about the participants, I request the participants to please raise your hand. I can unmute you. You can ask your question. Please, participants, you can please raise your hand for me to unmute you at your end.
Yeah. Or they can even chat box also, they can just type it and
text it in the chat box.
Or yeah, you can just read the questions, madam. No problem. Or if they want to have direct interaction also, welcome. No problem.
Interaction, please raise your hand, participants.
Because it should not become a monologue. That's why my presentation is very, very brief, because more than me saying something, yes, I have shared some of my thoughts. I don't say it is a very, very exhaustive discussion. I have shared some of my thoughts as how we are going to have an integrative approach as far as higher education is concerned in the coming days. We cannot think of just have silos and you cannot say this is different. If everything is integrated, and we are going to have a totally a new kind of experience as far as higher education is concerned in the coming days. It's what I'd like to say here. Questions are there, madam? Just I will just check. Chat box.
No, sir. I think only one question, sir.
Just to check, because I was busy with my presentation.
Yes, mind mapping, sir. By Shanti Kokila, mind mapping. So what is mind mapping?
Question is mine. See, I'm not an expert as far as psychology is concerned. It is a question relating to psychology. Mind mapping is a very tricky aspect. How exactly mind mapping is done, the techniques and other things, I'm not very, very familiar also. But I know as a general, my general answer would be, mind mapping is a very important concept or a technique which is used to understand the functioning or understand the functioning of a man's thinking process. That's what I'd like to say. I'm not an expert to explain this concept as far as mind mapping is concerned. It is a psychological tool. It is a psychological tool.
ICT.
Information and communication technology. ICT enabled teaching means how we are using. See, that nothing but smart classrooms. Is it not? All these years we had chalk and talk method. Now, what you mean? I think UGC and NAC also they have made it mandatory. We should have smart classrooms. Smart classrooms where we have got LCD projectors so that you can think of using electronic mode as far as the teaching is concerned. ICT enabled teaching is a common practice, and now NEP 2020 also says in the coming days ICT enabled teaching should become a common norm as far as higher education is concerned. Hence, NEP 2020 also says, I have even given you while discussing NEP, it says teachers also should be trained to become better online educators. Many teachers may not be familiar with ICT techniques and other things. Hence, NEP 2020 says if you find any traditional, especially teachers, so traditional teachers in the sense who are very familiar with chalk and talk method also, it says give them training so that they will acquire required skills so that they will be able to deliver the lectures in both online mode and offline mode. So in the coming date is two in one. When you talk of blended learning, a teacher is playing two roles. He is also delivering the things through online mode, offline mode, that is traditional method. He will also be delivering the lectures, or he will be imparting the knowledge and information to the students by using the latest available technique, that is the online mode also. That's how the learning is going to happen in the coming days.
Question, sir, by Nafisa Subramanya. Evaluation process be linked to blended learning.
Can you read once again the
How
question?
evaluation process be linked to blended learning? Evaluation of students is linked to blended learning.
No, can be done. See, blended learning, one should understand one important thing is blended learning is just a tool. Whether you do evaluation process and other things also. So blended learning, we are using both online and offline mode. How the evaluation should be done, all these years we used to do offline evaluation also, face to face. In the coming days also, we can think of having different, especially a new methodology where you can think of doing online evaluation process also. Today, you take the example, because of pandemic, many corporate entities, they are conducting online interviews only. Is it not? It is nothing but evaluation process. Earlier, what was our idea of an interview? Physical presence. The interviewer and interviewee, they used to assemble in a room, interview boardroom, and they used to have interaction. Now it is happening online also. So anything is possible. That's why I say in the coming days, a teacher should play multiple roles. He is a facilitator. He should play multiple roles. Many of the things all these years we never thought that it is going to happen through online mode, because we are all these years familiar with the offline mode. But in the coming days, once you start using the technology, we can develop our own techniques. We can think of developing our own methodologies so that whatever we do on offline, that can be done effectively with the help of online. That's what I'd like to say here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your great knowledge, for a very good session. It was really inspiring to know about the blended learning and social sciences.
Yeah.
And we have the Vice President of Central Muslim Association, Karnataka, Farooq sir, amongst us. Welcome to the last day, 5th day of the 5 days online national level FDP program, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I thank Abbas Khan College for inviting me to your event, and I have been hearing Dr. Vithal speak, and I think what he says are very valid points. Uh, some of this in practical terminology. I mean, this is a learning process for everybody. Even the experts are beginning to learn now because this is the new normal. So I think. There've been from what I make out from the program, you've had numerous sessions on IoT, future world of things, embracing the new normal in education post COVID, and Kannada as a language, how we can participate and get more content out. The topics have been very important, and most important I think is the stagflation on the Indian economy. I'd just like to say that $50 billion has been the turnover of Amazon, Google, and Apple put together. 50 billion. That is, we're talking about $1 billion is about 8,000 crores. So, we are talking about $50 billion. So imagine the kind of a turnover that these three companies' profits that they have made in this past 1 year. Another aspect that one should realize is the economies have changed, and it's become a new level playing field for people. I mean, big players have disintegrated. It's separated the boys from the men. Uh, Earlier transactions that were happening on a different way would have taken us 20 years to get into the system, which I think this pandemic has kind of fast forwarded this whole process, and we've kind of got into digital, and we've gotten to telecommunication. My children, rather my grandchildren, are now attending classes. They're more tech savvy than I am and anybody else in my office. They're recording at the same time. They're making out presentations. I mean, they're doing a fabulous job. I mean, I don't think I could have ever imagined myself that a 4-year-old kid can do this kind of a thing. So from that perspective, I think it's been tremendous. It's a new learning for all of us. And we are going to have problems. We're going to have teething problems by the time we get. And, we're talking about the economic from a real estate perspective. There's going to be work from home, which is going to be the new normal. I mean, companies are now looking at people working from home, but that doesn't mean at the same time that office buildings are going to be obsolete, but it's going to be a hybrid. So I think there's a wonderful, let's look at the positive side of things. Let's look at how we can make things to suit our advantage and move on. There are certain points that one needs to bear in mind. There is going to be a learning curve. We're going to make some mistakes, but that's all normal and that's natural. So I wish Abbas Khan College, the organizers of this event, Madam Yu, who's taken a lot of trouble on this, and the principal and all the faculty members who've done a tremendous job to organize this conclave. And I wish it all the best. And I think you should do this as an annual kind of a thing. Even after the pandemic, maybe not in the digital form, but you should do it in a virtual form just to examine where we are right now and what new technologies are there. And this could be another learning session. This program can be to train the trainers, like the teachers themselves need to upgrade their skills and be updated to what's happening. And like Dr. Vithal said, very important. The educational aspect of it, I totally agree with his point of view, and I think I can go on and on, but I'm told that the time is 3:30. We're already running late, so I wish you all the very best. And I think the students who have participated and the professors that I see here, it's been a great learning, and I wish Abbas Khan College and all those who have attended all the very best. Thank you, ma'am. If there's anything more, I'd be more than glad to
No, sir.
speak on.
Thank you very much for being the part of the valedictory note of this session. We are very privileged to have you as a guest for the today's valedictory event. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And to Vittal Podar, sir, you have a last question. There is a question from Digambar, sir. You can please answer him.
Yeah, okay.
Which
Uh,
method of teaching will be recommended for to inculcate students distinguished?
uh, which method? So that's why I said I don't say only either offline or online. Why I'm talking about, I also support a blended. It all depends. That's why I said in my presentation also, depending on that particular subject. See, some of the subjects can be taught in an effective manner with the help of offline mode. And there are some advanced subjects. For that, you have to take the help of the experts. The experts may not be available in your city, or they may be available in any part of the world. And you have to listen to them. And then that time, you have to go for online. I don't say here only offline is good or online is good also. In the coming days, when you go for interdisciplinary studies or multidisciplinary studies, one should know something about everything. Take the example today, history under blended learning, under interdisciplinary learning, history and data science. They are extensively using data science. See, the data science experts are available in especially Silicon Valley or in some especially software hubs. They may not agree to come to your college to say something about data science to a social science student. But definitely when you are using the online mode, so they are from there only, from their workstations or from their offices only, they will be able to deliver a lecture, or they will be able to spend a couple of hours with you, and they can share their knowledge, or they will help you in understanding these things also. So that's why today distance, time, and cost, these factors also, all these years we used to talk about these factors as far as commerce and management is concerned. Today it is very much applicable to higher education. Take the example, there are some experts who may not agree to spend 4 or 5 hours to deliver 1 hour lecture. So at that time, you have to go for online mode only. So what I suggest is, I don't say cannot give an equation, only this method should be adopted. It all depends. Suppose if you are teaching history and you want to study, you want to take the help of an expert in cartography, so just to invite him or her through online mode, and they will be able to deliver a lecture, or they will be able to clarify these things. Under interdisciplinary, we are combining we are combining the studies with the different branches of knowledge. We are especially, it is a synthesis process. We are inviting experts. We are having a lot of interaction with experts also, in order to make those things very, very clear. And in order to make those things very clear, you have to take the help of experts who are available in different parts of the world, not just in different parts of India. They are available in different parts of the world. And if that is the situation, online mode is very, very useful. You are using through offline mode your teachers, local available resources. With the help of online mode, you are also bringing in the expertise of the resource persons from different parts of the world. That's how the learning process should happen. Even in take the example of libraries, we have got hard copies. We have also got digital libraries. Is it not? When you talk of a library today, the nature of library also is entirely different. 21st century. One side we have got hard copies. All books are arranged in the racks. At the same time, we have got digital library, where within a limited space we are able to save a lot of information. Is it not, in digitalized format, maybe in a discs, or it may be in pen drives or something also? Is it not? This is how the learning is happening. This is how the academic institutions are functioning. So hence I suggest, I don't take any sides. I suggest it should be a combined mode only. That is a blended mode. That's what I like to say.
Thank you, sir. I hope you got your answer, sir. Digambar, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the answer. Thank you for giving the detailed explanation from the participant end. So we have come to the end of this part of the FDP, that is 5 days online national level program. So this is very important part, as we are associated with the participants, with the speakers, and with the institution for this 5 days continuously to conduct this 5 days online national level FTP. So social sciences have found that fastest way to feel happiness is to participate and practice gratitude. So I, Noor Aisha, Deputy Coordinator, is very honored to propose vote of thanks on this occasion of 5 days online national level FDP program. First and foremost, it's don't follow the crowd, let the crowd follow you. Yes, it's about the Farooq Mahmood sir, Vice President CMA, for accepting the invitation and gracing the occasion in spite of his busy schedule and giving us the valedictory note for this 5 days FDP program. Sir, on behalf of everyone, I extend my gratitude to you, sir. The very important speaker of the today's session, Dr. Vittal Podar, sir, Senior Research Associate, Mythic Society, Bangalore, for giving the in-depth knowledge of the today's topic, blended learning and social sciences. Sir, I'm extremely thankful for you to have for this session. On behalf of management, principal, college, and my own behalf, I extend a warm gratitude to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would like to thank our General Secretary CMA, Dr. Zahiruddin sir, brain behind the institution, for his support and cooperation in conducting this event. I also thank our both the Joint Secretaries of CMA, Janab Hussain Sharif Sahab and Janab Riaz Ahmad Sharif Sahab, for their constant support. Leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work. Yes, it's about our professors Veda Begum, Principal Abbas Khan College for Women, for her constant support and guidance in conducting this FDP program and making it a grand success. Ma'am, on behalf of everyone, I thank you, ma'am. I would also like to thank the smiling evergreen lady, Professor Sabiha Zubair, Vice Principal and HOD of Urdu, for gracious presence and cooperation. Next, Dr. M.S. Vidya, IQAC Coordinator and HOD of Kannada, for leading us in every step of planning and implementation of this 5 days national level FDP. Madam, we highly acknowledge your effort in guiding us in all aspects, and we respect you for supporting us in conduct of this event. Thank you on behalf of everyone, ma'am. And Vittal Podar sir is the reference of Dr. M.S. Vidya. On behalf of that, I even thank you, sir and ma'am. I thank Dr. Saida Tabassum, Assistant IQAC Coordinator and Staff Secretary, for her support in conduct of this event. I also thank Ms. Rumana Tabassum, Treasurer of the staff. This is very important. A company is strong if it is bounded by love rather than by fear. Yes, I'm talking about our IQAC team who has constant support in conduct of the event. Ms. Habiba, HOD of History, Shazia, Lecturer in Commerce, and Ms. Javedia, Lecturer BCA Department, for supporting in each step as a backend for this FDP program. Last but not the least, all my HODs and my dear colleagues for participating and for the cooperation of this program. The very important part for thankful is for the participants who have made it a grand success of all complete participation in all 5 days and making it a true grand success by your complete thought-provoking participation, your response, your questions, and for your great feedback for each and every session. Thank you for the participants. A great applause for you participants. And the last but not the least, for all the speakers of the 5 days event, Mr. Shashank, Dr. Shrikanta sir, then we have Vittal Podar sir, then we have Dr. UP Pavanaja, then we have Rohini ma'am for the participation and being the resource person for this 5 days event. Last but not the least, all have participated and cooperated. Thank you, one and all. Your feedback link is there in the chat box. please do find it, the feedback link, and it will not be sent in person to any of them. It is available in the chat box, and participants, it is only 100 certificates published per day. If you are not able to receive the certificates today, kindly please fill the same feedback link tomorrow. Also, it is available for another 2 days. So please be patient enough to please fill the feedback and give your valuable response and collect your certificate. It is an auto-generated certificate. So thank you all the participants. Thank you Vittal Podar sir. Thank you everyone. Thank you sir on behalf of everybody present here. And please find the feedback link in the chat box. Participants, please find the feedback link in the chat box and please give your valuable feedback. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Thank you once again. And one more announcement. We have a webinar on Monday morning 10:30, which is on prevention of sexual harassment act for new normal at 11:30 on Monday. I'll be sending the link for the registration as well as a Zoom link to join. Please join and make our webinar on prevention of sexual harassment in the new normal and make it as a grand success. So please fill the feedback link which is there in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you, sir.